Hello, here we go. I'm going to plug in the power source. I think I'll turn up the brightness if it matters. This is my room. Windows open, candle. Didn't make the bed today. I was just meditating, having a great time, and I thought, let's try going live. Here we go. I'm going to talk a little bit. When I start off, I'll usually take like an extra slow, deep breath and kind of like I'm gathering myself. And then on the first exhalation, I just imagine dropping everything in my mind. And you can trust that, knowing that you have, like your brainstem that keeps you alive while you sleep and everything. You're not responsible for heartbeat and digestion. Just work on controlling the mind. Not controlling like forcing, just watching it and seeing how it moves. And like I said in the description, what does it feel like before a thought happens? Like when you're just staring at a tree during class, when you see something interesting, you notice yourself just being with it. What does that feel like? And can you get there right now? Not a competition, just a tool to I was already meditating, so I'm still kind of in it. But I want this to be helpful, so I thought I'd talk a little bit. I'm just going to go back in, and then if like a full paragraph wants to come out, then I'll say it to you. One thing I will say emphatically is that when I've been in it, like deep in the meditation feeling, my heart's been opening up, and that to me it's like a sensation of like a relaxation around my chest. And also, I know it's not opening up, but literally like an unfurling. It's like it was flexed. This is figurative. It's like it was flexed, and then it just kind of opens up, and it's so nice. One thing I don't like is when my fingernails like they rub ever so slightly because it makes my whole hand shake, but it's just a tiny little sensation. But probably shouldn't be a big deal. Everything is so sensitive. So right now I'm getting sensations in my joints and in my mouth, like the salivary glands. Feels like things are relaxing at a slightly deeper level. Main muscle groups just kind of hanging out. And I like to try and make all the muscles, except the ones that are helping me sit up tall, all the other muscles just relax. The eyes can hang heavy in the face. The cheeks can rest. The tongue can lay heavy in the mouth. Feel the back of you, or I feel the back of my throat relax. I'm so used to giving the instruction. I feel the back of my throat relax. And the space around my ears, my shoulders and elbows, wrists and knuckles, fingers, even in my fingernails. Even though I can't prove anything's happening, I feel just the intention of relaxing, and I get the sensation of nerves calming down. I feel my weight pressing into my little wooden bench through my, uh, I forget the name, ischium, I think. Those two bones on the bottom of the butt. Feel my knees pressing into the floor, my ankles pressing a little bit less gently, and my toes fanning out from there. And there's not much pressure in the toes. Feel my body tired, a little bit congested. Tickle on my face. Mm, it almost went away, but I got it. It's very physically pleasant being in this state. I don't want to compare it to a drug, but it is somewhat. I mean, there's definitely chemical processes happening. Just a little bit of meditation, and I feel so quiet, but not quiet like I'm being quiet, quiet like I'm listening to something interesting, like that feeling of quietness, almost perfect stillness you get when you're watching a movie and something really important is happening. All your attention is just feeling that scene in the exact same way I'm watching the movie of my life. And I'm identifying with the feeling of aliveness inside me instead of with the different things happening in the story. And of course, I identify with the things in the story all the time. That's how the brain works. Or at least it seems I mean, you know what I mean? We all got our stories. And most of us are fighting our stories. Some of us are fighting other people's stories. But if you're fighting somebody else's story, you probably have a story that tells you that you need to fight their story, so you're still fighting your own story. But being in this sensation is, I feel like that was clear what I just said, but also uh, not clear. I want to share the sensation, uh, but I don't know how. I'm talking about it. Wow, so just then I was meditating and like deep in it, and then one thought came in that I engaged with, and then another thought, and then another thought, and then I was just running through some like battle scene in my head, and then I was like, oh wait, I'm doing a live stream meditation. So the mind's gonna go all over, but if you can get those moments, it's super satisfying. Um, yeah. And so when I do break focus, sometimes I'll resettle, not to be graphic, but having a male biological body, sometimes my dangles get, you got to watch out for the blood flow. That's true of everybody's body. This is what I'm sitting on. It's just 2x4 with nails in it. And I try and sit with just, like if this is my butt cheek, I'll try and just sit at the tiniest amount. Tiniest amount, because I get this perfect angle, and then it's like nothing goes to sleep. It's just, I gotta watch out I don't, never mind. But and I check my position, reevaluate, do I want to be meditating right now? Saturday, do homework tomorrow, a little bit earlier. Yes, I want to be meditating. The environment is good, candle is still safe, roommates doing their things. I check in emotionally. Am I running away? Am I trying to force something? Definitely, definitely. But only in a little way. I feel like, well, I'm being super critical, so I can give a good example. But I can identify things that I do run away from and try and force. And because I like meditating a lot, I think about it a lot and I see how it could be connected in those ways. But right now, I do feel really good. Uh, fascinated by my ideas of what you think of this, you, the plural viewer, but single individual. And I hope I'm doing a good job. Reevaluated body situation, reevaluated environment, emotional, mental, and then to do the actual practice. Choosing a position. Walking meditation is different, or like a Zen practice. Movement is fine, but if we're doing sitting meditation, then staying still and allowing for the physical stillness to feed the mind, not the mind, the process of discerning more of the mind, being physically still. On a very literal sense, you have less motor neuron activity. So just me moving my hand, my brain is interacting. I'm not super medically trained, but I know there's motor neurons, probably somewhere in the middle side right here, that run down and tell the hand to open and close. I'm also feeling the position of the fingers in space as it opens and closes, aware mentally, emotionally of danger right here if I were to burn myself, for instance. And some movement, all kinds of stuff happening. The subconscious mind is keeping you balanced and keeping physically balanced. You don't fall over. And so being still, it's just like another layer that you can discard to try and feel more of what are you? What is that feeling of aliveness? I don't know, but I like being close to that feeling of aliveness. And it feels informative, even though it's nonverbal. So choosing a position to be still in. One thing that I notice myself thinking about is like right and wrong. And I feel like sometimes I meditate to be like more right or better, and that might be a good endeavor in some ways at some times, but I think most important is just being most aware, most present. Sometimes we see something that we think is good or bad, and then we grow up a little bit and we see it as different. And change didn't happen in the thing, it happened inside us. And so I think about that and I go, well, what would it be like in total hindsight? Like if you could reevaluate and see everything fully. And I don't know if that happens with meditation, but it does create more of that kind of mental space to be aware of what's happening inside you as you're reacting to something happening outside. And reactions are good and bad, you know? Being hooking up with somebody that you love very much, you'll probably have strong reactions, and I think that's a good thing. Being yelled at by somebody you don't like, maybe some negative reactions, not so fun. But in both cases, you are experiencing things happening to you. And I like meditation for the process of being more clear about what is happening. Um, sometimes I feel like I'm not being clear, but that's okay. This is an experience-based practice, and I would love to talk it out, but I used to get mad at my teachers that they couldn't just kind of zap me into it, and but at the same time, can't do that for you. I can only try and be an example. I'm not a guru, not perfect. I do all kinds of funky stuff, but right now we're here together. That was a lot of talking. I'm gonna jump back in. Right now, I'm mostly aware of wanting to do a good job for you, whatever that means, wanting to have a good outcome for me, and those are both good intentions, but I'm focusing on my feeling of aliveness, feeling of the breath moving, all of the things happening in the now instead of those desires I just mentioned. Not punishing the desires or punishing the having of them, literally just turning the dial, moving the attention to a different place, and watching the effect. Lots of thoughts and jumping back in, but I want to check my text message. I was just, this doesn't happen very often. I was just in a very quiet place, and then I had like a flavor sensation, which is so funny. It was of purple shiso, which I've only had a few times. It's like an herb used in cooking in some places. That was so funny. You're helping to keep me focused. I'm having so much fun. My buddy's calling. Bye, everybody.